Hawwaam and Verdi, the last two, for this hands and heels initiative here. Turffontein for the very first time, 1400 meters. Start of bipot 1, and the field are dispatched to a very nice beginning for them. The Grey Mountain Madness got the best of the start.
I'm standing in front of one of the most beautiful pictures in the history of South African horse racing, which epitomizes the city of gold. We're at Turffontein Racecourse, where the National Horse Racing Authority is situated, and in order to become part of history, one needs to normally do something pretty darn special. So on the 3rd of November, on Emperor's Palace Charity Mile Day, the National Horse Racing Authority, in conjunction with the operator, the jockeys, and the trainers, decided to hold a race in which no crops were permitted. Now, the acting Chief Executive Officer of the National Horse Racing Authority is Arnold Hyde, who tells us how this particular race eventually took place and the process and possibly the way forward.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, it's actually been staggering what the reaction and how this innovation has been received. You know, the cropless race, as we call it, was born at a meeting in this very office block between trainer representative, a rider representative, operator representative, and myself from the regulator. And we analysed just what might be an impediment to the growth of the sport, how we would attract new customers into the sport, and what the general perception is from the outside. Because with us as participants in the sport, sometimes we are very limited in our approach to certain ways that we see our sport, and sometimes it's useful to consider how outsiders view our sport of horse racing. And we came to the conclusion that the outsiders thought that the use of the whip, or the crop as we refer to it in this country, is a negative, and that people perceive this to be cruel and unnecessary. Fortunately, the rider representative was in favour of this initiative. The trainer representative was in favour, and of course the NHA was, and the operator put on the show, included it in the race conditions, and so the idea was born, and it took form on the 3rd of November 2018 here at Turffontein Racecourse.
Henry James bring them in this hands and heels maiden race. 450 to go, and reach for the line has picked up the advantage down the inside. It's reach for the line from Henry James. Owlinthetree shaken up, 3 lengths to go, and Hawwaam has quickened up well on the outside. Got into the hunt really quickly now. It's reach for the line, 1.5 lengths. Hawwaam, the jockey showing him his hand here, and Hawwaam is coming home strongly at reach for the line. It's left up to these two, and Hawwaam breezes on by reach for the line in the final 50, and Hawwaam, hands and heels right, Randall Simons a length. Reach for the line, 6 lengths back, Owlinthetree.
I was doing an interview with the champion trainer, Justin Snaith, and he made a very big point.
All we're doing now is just nurturing in the right races, keeping the sticks off them. It's very important. My jockeys are given strict instructions. Give them as best ride as you can. We all know the rules of riding a horse to the finish, but this stick work at the moment in South African racing has gone out of control, and I'm just making sure that it doesn't cause too much hassle with my young horses. My guys are warned not to.
Did he have anything to do with this particular initiative, or is that yet to come?
Well, Justin Snaith is a fine horseman. I think we all know that. He wasn't part of this particular meeting that I've referenced. However, his opinions have been positively considered. I mean, I have obviously received feedback from my stipendiary stewards around the country, and they do speak to the trainers in each and every centre. So I think we are on the right path, and we do take recognition of people's input, and of course when it's positive, constructive input, we do take it to heart and see how we can use it to the best of our ability. I was personally pleased to see that when a horse, namely the winner, started to shift ground and showed a tendency to want to hang inwards, how the rider extended his right arm, and that proved to be all the correction that was required. So I was very pleased to see that, and the horsemanship that was involved with that particular action was very positive. But I certainly notice, 3 or 4 horses in most races that are being struck with a crop, and it's not really necessary. They've either given their best and they're tiring and going out the back door, or they're not in contention for a place. So the cropless race, I think, sent a statement out that we are very serious about horse welfare. We're very serious about the image of horse racing. And of course, the use of the crop is is discussed on a regular basis at every meeting and conference that I attend, both locally and internationally. And we have very strict guidelines in place that the IFHA do reference in their articles. So I think if we want to be serious about horse welfare and the integrity and image of horse racing, we need to definitely take a step back, reflect on what we're currently doing, and if we need to improve in that line. And I'm confident that the race in question on the 3rd of November did just that.
The odds-on favourite in the second race was a tried and tested horse from the Geoff Woodruff yard. He trailed in 10 lengths behind the first two horses. So it tells you that these are either two exceptional horses, or the lies, the damned lies, and the statistics reveal that the whip didn't make these horses go any faster. What's your take on it?
Well, it's debatable, Andrew. I think the riders will say that the whip or the crop is an important tool of their trade, and we have to respect that. Having said that, of course, they've been trained to be riders. They've come through the academy. It's a 5-year apprenticeship. It's a tough apprenticeship, but they're taught how to use the crop. They are coached by the riding masters. They're also instructed by the stipendiary stewards during the early stages of their apprenticeship, how to use the crop and what is frowned upon in terms of our rules. So I think we need to get to a balance between the use of the crop and the use of the crop in a responsible manner. I think a lot of the riders that I've spoken to that rode in the cropless race were of the opinion that a crop may be necessary to get the best out of a horse, and we need to respect that. There is a train of thought, however, that the use of the crop is perhaps over the top in horse racing generally, and that perhaps a horse would react to a crop being used in a lesser manner, less frequently, with less force. On horses that are out of contention for a place, it should be a no-no. When horses are clearly showing no response, that's a no-no. But those are contained in the guidelines on the use of the crop. So I think it is a work in progress, but I'm very careful not to dismiss anyone's opinion, because we're an industry with a very diverse participant level, and we need to make sure that we do not ignore any stakeholders while we're coming to a decision on how we're going to go forward. But of course the equine athletes don't have a voice, and we need to consider what's best for them as well, but in a responsible manner. Of course, there's the betting aspect as well. We want people to have confidence in our product. We want to make sure that the integrity of the races are not compromised. So we need to somehow get everything into the same pot and get the recipe right, for the end result. I think that's important in the way we look at this progression.